Good morning. I couldn't remember if it's morning or afternoon. Good morning and welcome to H3 TV, where we talk about navigating disruption with hope, health, and happiness. We all face hard things in life, challenging things. Sometimes some people would say, I invite my own challenging things. This week, it's creating a nonprofit. But there's always things we face, whether they come at us or we go for them, just to elevate to that next level. But what I want to think about today is when you're navigating disruption, when you're facing a challenge, a storm, a tragedy in life, how do you stay hopeful, healthy, and happy? So I come to you every week and I love it when you comment. Tell us who's watching. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us, ask us a question. Help us encourage you on your journey through life. Today, my guest is Kelly. Please help me welcome to the stage, Kelly. Hey, Kelly, so glad to have you.
Hello, Annie. Thank you so much for having me today, and I'm very glad to be here.
Absolutely. Welcome. So tell us who you are, Kelly. Where do you live? What do you do? Tell us all the good things about you.
Sure. So I'm Kelly Fischer. I'm from Brazil. I've been in the US for 6 years now. I needed to learn a new language and working with companies. So I'm a business advisor. I help business owners grow, scale, and exit their companies. What I do is to help to business build a strategy for that. And inside of this strategy, we are building the systems and the plan for the succession plan or exit plan. So this is what I do as a business advisor, being a trusted advisor for the CEO, for the founder, and yeah. So I'm very excited to be here and to talk with you today.
Wonderful. It's great to have you. So, Kelly, I always like to talk to people about we know we face many disruptions in life. Some people call them disruption, interruption, disruption, storm, challenge, change. But I want you to just think of one. It can be a professional one or a personal one that you would be comfortable sharing with our audience today. We're always here to teach them and encourage them on their journey. So, do you have a time in your life you faced a challenge or disruption?
I have so many times that this happened.
Oh,
I call them inflection points. So some point that we get and we need to choose which roads to take, which path to take. So and depending on the path, we are going to have a totally different life. So
yeah. So,
I had some.
just one of yours, just
Yes,
one that you faced.
yeah.
Yeah.
So one that I like to talk about very much is about moving to the US. This was an inflection point where I was in Brazil. I was a single mom at that time. I went through a great, very, very bad and hard divorce and closing the company and leaving all the projects. And I am architect, so leaving all the projects and the clients and everything, and I needed to prepare a good time for my son. So we visit US sometimes as vacation, and in 2018, I am a believer, and I heard that voice saying it's time to move. I was like, okay, time to move. 41 years old, single mom with a 13 years old son, going to a new country with a new language, with a new profession because I was transitioning from being architect to being a business consultant, and so many changes that I needed to face. But and arriving here, I was like any other immigrant. I needed to go clean houses, so I was cleaning vacation home while thinking I have two professions and I'm here cleaning vacation home.
Mhm.
So but with that was a learning process of this time. Cleaning homes was a time that I was learning the language, and I was listening podcasts in English and praying God to give me the gift to speak English. I still don't speak like pretty well, but I speak a lot, and this is comes from God. So this was a disruption point where I need to overcome my fears, especially as a 41 years old woman, single mom, and needed to reinvent myself and build everything again from scratch. after the 40s. When the 40s, we usually think we need to be with a home and a house and be a homeowner and having the, all the things to go to a retirement plan. But I saw myself in this situation that I need to start at everything again.
I was going to say, Kelly, this is not one disruption. This is like 72 layers inside of one because you made major decisions, right? So the first thing is that you had a vision and a hope for yourself to have a better life. You had a faith that you relied on more than what was reality, what you did not see, but what you trusted to be better. You had
Yeah.
a child that you loved and you wanted to give a new opportunity. So not only did you come to a new country, you started a new language. You're a brilliant career woman, architect, and you're coming here saying, I'm a woman who will do whatever it takes to do what I'm meant to do. And I love that. I think we have a lot of listeners that are visionaries, that are working at jobs that don't necessarily fit them. They know they're creative for more. They know they want to start a business. And so you had this vision, and you were courageous and you said, I will no longer tolerate an abusive relationship. And if it means being terrified and doing it anyway, I'm leaving a country, I'm taking my son, I'm starting over. And if it means cleaning vacation homes to get to where I know my brain and where God wants me, I will do what it takes. And now you are. Now you're a business advisor, you're speaking, you're consulting, you're helping high level people get to their next level because you've done the work. You've been there, you have the experience personally and professionally to get there. But I'm sure, Kelly, there were some dark days. And that is the reality of whether we choose to make a change and we have some of the information, all the information. You faced a lot of adversity and you got up and you kept going and you held your head high, knowing who you were and knowing your worth in being able to do it. So Kelly, how did you stay hopeful when you were afraid, when you're in a new country, new language, new job, not being valued the way you were in Brazil by the professional world, but having the vision and the hope for a new relationship and for a safe place to live and grow? So how did you stay hopeful in the face of that?
Yeah. First of all, is the faith, believing that I have a plan. There is a plan bigger, and I'm following the plan. So to have this faith that God is taking care of me and He's leading me to this new phase. And like Jeremiah 11 says, He has plans for us and plans of peace and not to do evil. And this strong faith is everything.
Yes.
And besides that, it is the reminding you of your story, like we sing Lamentations, remind me of the past, of the things. So I need to do this today still, like telling this story is a reminder of, look, your strength, you can do it. And the third thing is to have models. So I remember the last week, it was like a couple days to travel to move to here. I was freaking out, and God woke up me saying, hey, if Colonel Sanders, he was able to build an empire with 67 years old, 70 years old, starting, you can do that at 41.
That's right.
So this was my word, like, oh, I can do this at 41 because Colonel Sanders did that with almost 70. So have these models that you can follow, who overcame, who did that, who went through this and overcame and won at the end. So that's the three things that speaks to me a lot. So my faith, reminding myself of who I am and what I overcame along the way, and having models to see, and like me. And I don't see an immigrant. I didn't use an immigrant as a model. I used Americans because I understood I need to go deep into the American culture. If God is moving me to this country, I cannot live with my community. I need to be with the Americans and emerge with the Americans. So I was like, who are the models that I can follow? Colonel Sanders, Tony Robbins, Terry Savelle Foy. So that was my, while I was in the in the cave, like in the, the caterpillar phase.
Yeah.
I was listening all these people on the podcast, and I was like, I need to learn English. I need to learn English.
That's awesome. I mean, look at what you did. I wish I was bilingual. I so wish I was bilingual. And I feel like my brain, someday maybe it's on my list. I have a good friend right now. He's 53 and he just started learning Spanish. I love that you said first is faith. I think the way that I've stayed hopeful my whole life is faith. And when I have guests on here and they say, have a faith, you learn to not depend on yourself, to depend on God. The second thing, when you said you looked back, I always say, like, my past for me is like you glance back, right? You look back and then you work hard here, but you keep your focus on that forward, right? I love KFC. I'm a KFC lover. I know it's not the best for me, but I love Kentucky Fried Chicken. I think he's such a great role model. Sarah Lee's another great role model. There's so many brilliant, strong women that have started over and started, 60s, the average age to become a professional speaker. And so we look at, like, okay, look how far I've come already. If I've made it this far, how much farther can I go? You're still young. Like I always say, we don't start getting old till 85. There's people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s starting businesses, always having the whisper, but not always having the courage. You
Yeah.
took the courage to have that vision to go forward. Now you're fluent in English. Like, your words are used by other people, and look at how far you've come and what you've done with your life. I think, oh, it's all brilliant, Kelly. And I think it does. It's not only hope for you of where you are, but to our listeners, they hear, look at Kelly, look at where she is, and look at what she's had to overcome to get to here. Kelly, how did you stay healthy? And when I think of health, I always like to remind people it's not just our physical health. It's what we talk about or think about. A lot of people talk about their weight and their body size, but really we're talking about emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, relational health. Trusting a guy again. You said you're remarried, right? And
Yeah.
so having a new relationship, being surrounded by proximity of other people that are healthy and striving and overcoming or have overcome, and saying, if they can do it, I can do it. And
Yeah.
saying, I'm not looking back, I'm looking forward at
Yeah.
what is possible. So how did you stay healthy? What were some of the strategies or tips you did to stay healthy?
Yes. So, healthy in a sense of being skinny. I am not skinny anymore. I was one time. I gained a lot of weight, but I told my mom I'm healthier today than I was when I was skinny. Because when I was skinny, it was like the obsessive thing of getting skinny, and I was eating only eggs. So I didn't have the healthy, all the nutrients necessary. But I believe more than that is the healthier the mind. So we need to work our mind. And the way I get healthy is the first thing in my day, my first fruits is the time with God. So I spend my time with God. I have my devotional time, and I don't have time limit for that. I spend 2 hours, 3 hours if I need to. This is the first thing I do. And then second is the try to eat healthy, of course, but having connections and friends that you can be accountable. So I think the accountability is a healthy thing, especially when you have a decision to make, or you have make plans, or if you have someone that is accountable, that you can open your heart and say, hey, I'm thinking about that. So what do you think about? And is able to even with love say the words and Jesus moment, like, hey, come here, you are not doing this right. This is very healthy, to have someone that you can trust and have accountability. And the third thing is the thoughts are going to come always. The negative thoughts, especially when we are in social media, with all the comparison side, that you are comparing yourself with other people all the time. So this is something I learned with my pastor. She's a psychologist, and for every negative thought, you need to say out loud three positive things that go against that. That is the opposite of the negative thought. So this is an exercise that I'm doing. Every negative thought I need to take captive and say out loud three different positive things that go against that. So those are the ways I use to keep healthy. Mhm.
Nice. I like take captive, right? Renewing of our minds, the take captive, the all of the things. And I think so much more our physical body is healthy. We can only see the outside, but the internal of our physical body gets stressed when our mind is negative, when our self-talk is negative, when we're worn down and we don't take rest. We need rest. I love that you said you don't have a time limit on your morning quiet time. I do have a time limit on mine. I maybe someday I won't, but I do because I always feel like get to your desk and get to work. But I think it's so valuable to know that is the first fruit. As a sister in Christ and a friend in faith, I think that when we have that faith, it is the light. It is the light to our path in the darkest, most challenging moments. And so I love that you share that. And I love that you hold that time sacred and don't rush through it, because we can spend hours scrolling and think nothing of it and lose half a day. But how come we only have 10 minutes for the Lord, or
Yeah.
5 minutes, or whatever it is, or once a week, whatever people's schedule is. So Kelly, I always think that humor, I do believe laughter is the best medicine. And so, where did you find happiness and humor when you moved to America? I can't imagine how overwhelming that was on so many levels, financially, emotionally. Luckily you have a strong faith, but there's so much change in culture and everything around you. I love that you said, I wanted to immerse myself in the American culture, but also learning. I always try to immerse myself in successful women. Like I look and go, who really was successful, and successful the way that I think of success. That isn't just money, but it's also like they had loving relationships. They liked themselves. They were happy, not just they
Yeah.
climbed the ladder. So you're looking to those role models in America. But how did you find humor or happiness when it was hard and everything was brand new? Everything, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. So, one thing that I love to do is go to the parks. I am in Lakeland, Florida, so
mm,
I'm very close to the parks. And I remember when I moved, I rented a home, in a vacation home in a complex with the water park. So whenever I was stressed and I needed to release, I went to the water park and scream, screaming and yelling, and like, so this brings release for the stress. So this is the way I see happiness, for me, is to be with my family, to visit my son. He lives in North Carolina, and to be with my husband. So whenever we go out and we go to a restaurant, just to be in the present.
yeah.
So because we tend to be with people, but we are looking the phone, or we are paying attention, especially when we are ADHD, like I am, like all over the place and everything distract. But to be in the present and to connect with the person with us. So I love to connect with my siblings and to laugh together and make fun of each other. So those are the things that I see. I find happiness.
Yeah.
Spending time with God, spending time with friends. We have I'm a part of a city group, walk and talk. So we can walk for 1 hour and we don't even feel it because we are talking and having these personal connections and nature connection as well.
Mhm.
So put the feet on the grass and go to the beach and see the calm water. So
Yeah.
this is something that I do every day when I wake up. I go outside and I thank God. I say good morning,
Mhm.
Father, good morning, Jesus, good morning, Holy Spirit. And I see that long, big in front of my house and the green paths and the calm waters of the lake closer. And I say the Psalm 23 every day. So
Mhm.
this brings happiness when we are in contact with the nature and seeing if God can provide for them and can take care of them. He can take care of me, you know?
Absolutely. That's beautiful. I love it. I love the grounding. It's so important. I'm not at the beach right now. Next week I'll move back to the beach, but I love getting up and going to the water and just having time with the Lord. I feel like in the quiet you can hear him so much
Yeah.
louder. And sometimes we get so distracted and life's so noisy we don't get to hear him. So to be in that grounding of God's creation and to just say good morning. And I was saying one day I was walking on the beach and I was like, good morning, Lord. How are you doing today? I'm always telling you how. And he's like, I'm doing good. I'm like, you're doing good? Like, do you know what's happening in the world? He's like, oh, I knew this was going to happen before any of you, and I'm doing good anyway. So it is. I love that you have that. I love that you have a water park. I love that you pay attention to nature. It's so important. Kelly, I want to know about, so you moved here when you were 41. What would you have told yourself? Like if there's a 20-year-old out there, someone 20 years younger than you, and they're thinking about leaving a relationship that's not healthy, they're thinking about leaving a country, they're thinking about leaving their corporate professional career as a beautiful architect, so talented, and coming and starting over and having to clean, well, having to and getting the opportunity to clean just to have a fresh start. What encouragement or advice would you give to your younger self or to a younger or a woman the same age out there that's looking to you to say, what do you know now that you didn't know that?
Hmm. First of all, to be patient. Everything is going to come to the right place in the right timing. So be patient. I was always very impulsive in a sense, like need to hurry, need to do this faster, and too much because of my behavior profile. I'm high dominant. But first of all, is be patient and make a plan and understand that you can follow the plan. So many people, especially in the faith-based community, they seek for prophecies, but I see the prophecy as actually God showing the future, and from that we are going to build the plan to get there. It's not that he's going to throw in our laps like easily for free like that. We need to do our part, and that's the way I see. So if you have a plan, if you have a desire to move to another country and learn another language, make the plan, see the end goal, and then build this plan to get there, and then go to the steps and understand that we'll have peaks and valleys and failure, and be gracious to you. And this is something that someone that is younger can learn more. Be gracious to you. You are going to get there. In some point you are going to get there, but enjoy the journey and everything that you are learning through the journey, that you are growing and maturing through the journey, people that you are meeting through the journey. And you can build relationships and partnerships, and you can build um, you know uh, people for life, accountability partners through the journey, but you are going to get there in some point. Mhm.
Enjoy the process, be present, start with the end in mind. That's what I heard, like see it and then go backwards and then make the steps. Good wisdom, Kelly. I like that a lot. Kelly, I know you work with organizations and individuals through greater success, through greater clarity and planning. So what is the story of one of your clients you work with, an individual or corporation, where you met them here kind of struggling, and through that arch you worked with them and now they're here? You have a
Yeah,
story. You don't need to tell us the client's name or business, but just a story of that process of working with you.
sure. I like the story of my first clients in the US. So it was 2019. I was working as a vacation cleaner for 3 months, and all of a sudden I closed this first business coach clients. They are an entertainment company. So at that time they had like the two owners, their friends, and one dancer, and they were like on the red, like not making money at all. The husband's putting money there, and they were like giving up. So 2 years in the business, one of them want to give up, and they came to me and they didn't have money to pay me. And I told them, hey, I can do this payment plan and I can do that, so we can start to work together. And was amazing to see their growth in only 6 months. So they changed the mindset completely, the mindset from dancer to CEO mindset. And with that, all the change came to the point that they are still following the 5-year plan. They didn't finish that, but to see the growth in a point that 6 months later, from $150 per hour dancing, they started to charge for the dancers $400 and $600 for the owners, and a team of 20 dancers in the company, and they were making so much money that they paid off. They increased like the from one dancing to five different types. I told them, I'm a Christian, I will never invite you guys to dance in my wedding, so you need to come up with another type of dance. And they did it, so five different type of dance. And they paid everything in full, like in cash, all the costumes. So 20 different dancers with different costumes that they paid everything. So with and I'm telling this story because I love them. I love their story. They received an award as the best entertainment company in Central Florida 2 years later.
Wow.
Um, and they are still in business. And the CEO, one of the CEOs that decided to, I'm gonna give up, she's not actively in the company anymore. We built in a sense that the company runs it without her, and she opened another business. But they are still successful, they are still there, and people love them. So I love to tell their stories, because one of the things that I needed to say to them, was very hard for me to say, but I needed, is sometimes we move from some places, but the mentality don't change.
Yeah.
So what I told them was the Lot story in the Bible, even that they were not a Christians, but they moved, but the mentality didn't move. So
Yeah.
you moved from this place and from this reality, but this reality is still inside of you. So we need to change that. You are going to honor the reality and the origin from where you came from, but we need to change the mentality for the new reality that you are in right now,
Yeah.
and to stretch for the reality that you want to go.
Yeah.
And this changed completely everything in the business.
Beautiful. That's a great story. And you can be a CEO and run a company and not be in the company every day. You can run, be at the top, but not be doing the daily. So that's a beautiful story of
Yeah.
success. Kelly, we're winding down here. So I'm wondering, do you have one last? I always think I love wisdom for my people out there that are working at a job and they are not loving the job and they know they're creative for more. And I don't want you all to quit your jobs, but there are people out there that have a dream of starting a business. They have a dream of being their own boss. They have a dream of being a speaker, being a coach, starting a dance studio, starting a music, making a gadget, whatever it is, whatever they're dreaming about. Do you have words of encouragement for someone out there who's dreaming and they just don't know where to start, or they're too afraid to take that jump like you did and to dream and believe in something better than what they can see in front of themselves?
Yes. My word for them is, first find your why. Why do you want to do that? And what is the burning inside of you? So whenever you jump into the entrepreneurial life, is not easy, is very hard, and the obstacles can truly destroy the why, the passion you have. You are going to lose the passion, and you are going to in some point give up, and you are going to see the obstacles, and you are going to, I don't want to do this anymore. So you need truly to know who you are and the purpose of what you are doing, because this is what you keep you going even when the storm comes. So I like to remember the Nemo's friend, like keep swimming, keep swimming. So that's because of the passion. She always was looking from the bright side instead of looking the dark side. And the dark side is going to come, but you need to look from the bright side of why you choose to do it, and the people who you are serving and bringing solutions to them. for you to keep going, keep swimming, and keep even when the storm comes, because the storm will come.
That's right. Great advice. I know sometimes we say you can quit your job, but then get up in the morning and start again. You can quit your career. You have this dream to build something is so hard. I also always tell people it takes about 4 years to be successful, consistently successful. And you want a minimum of $40,000 to start a business, because you don't get up and have a great idea and everyone else doesn't love it as much as you love it. So it takes a minute, but
Yeah.
it's worth it. It's so worth it. And so
Yeah,
rewarding.
and it's more work than a job, because a job you go there 9 to 5 and you forget about that.
Yeah.
No, being a business owner is 24/7. You were thinking about that all the time. So
That's right. Thinking about your
yeah.
clients, thinking how we can be better. So Kelly, I know my audience is going to want to stay connected with you, reach out, get to know you. What's the best way to connect with you?
Well, the best way will be my LinkedIn profile. It's always the best way to connect, to learn more about me professionally, and then we can book a call. But go to my LinkedIn profile. Is you can find me as Kelly Fischer, Kelly Fischer. So this is the best way.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for being with me today. Thank you to our audience for listening. Remember, Kelly and I love to hear from you. Where are you listening from? Where are you watching? Do you have a question, a comment? We love feedback. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being my guest. Have a great week.
Thank you, Annie.